Welcome back to Roy on Rescue. I wanted to enter a blog. It just came to my attention that an actual emergency arose at the Olympics. It sounds like a Russian luger has died from traumatic injuries related to an accident that happened in pre-Olympic trials. It's never easy to have these games. There's so many dynamics, but when we realize the cutting edge that some of these athletes are on at all times, it is extremely focused when something like this, something very tragic like this happens. My family and I are looking forward to watching the games. This person, I'm sure, has been training for a long, long time to be a success at the games. And here we see the effects of a traumatic injury and how quickly a life can be taken from an injury like this. When you watch the Luge this weekend or upcoming 17 days of the Olympic Games, keep in mind that these people are traveling at high rates of speed. Their heads and bodies are extremely close to rock solid ice, and the injuries that happen, and I didn't catch the full article yet. This is literally just hot off the press at CNN. I'll try to embed the link if I can on my Roy on Rescue site. But what happens when a head hits something solid is you have this movement where the head hits the object, the brain inside the skull slaps the inside of the skull, comes back, slaps the opposite side of the skull. We call that coup contra coup. So you have this injury that takes place from the initial skull hitting something hard, then the brain swells, bleeding sometimes begins, it hits the opposite side of the skull, the swelling and the bleeding happens on the other side of that brain, and we get this squeezing pressure from a closed head injury. This can cause death in and of itself, and along with other traumatic injuries that can occur, maybe a broken neck from this whiplash effect. So there's so many different ways that this can happen. The way that we would treat this, though, if I were responding as a paramedic on the Olympic grounds, is that we would want to stabilize the cervical spine immediately. We would want to see if we could actually initiate rescue breathing if they were not breathing without moving the helmet, because removing the helmet actually causes strain on the cervical spine. If you could not actually get to the airway without removing the helmet, you would remove the helmet carefully while maintaining cervical spine immobilization or reducing movement minimization, we call it now, so that we could access the airway, the mouth, to give rescue breathing. Check for signs of life or check for carotid pulses. If no pulses, we would begin CPR. Use an AED if indicated, and immediately get this person into an ambulance or airlifted out of this. In this case, airlift would be called for so that we could immediately get this person to a level 1 trauma center where they could begin brain surgery, shunts to remove the pressure inside the head, or some type of relief of the cervical spine injury through orthopedic surgery. So this stuff takes a lot of time to have happen, and if it's a serious injury, we sometimes don't have that time on our side. So we hope that there are no further injuries or illnesses during the Olympic Games. Our hearts and our prayers are with this person and the family through this tragic time. From Roy on Rescue, go forth and rescue. Have a great weekend. We'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.